Yeah, the girls behind us are going to come and join us any second now. It's great to see Kai Goddard and Dave Smith coming up to give us a little insight. And I'm glad they've come up here because when I asked Colin to ask Dave a question, he couldn't hear me. So I'm going to get Dave to come and join us here on there. Maybe we'll just go to the live mics. Just give us a second as we just take the mics off the stands, and then we can just go onto handhelds for 2 seconds. So just give me 2 seconds.
I'll vacate the chair and the boys can come and sit down here.
Cool bananas. So Kai and Dave, one of you jump in here. I'm going to go handheld to Kai, and Dave can jump in there. But the one very cool aspect that I have with man, dude, do you think you're going to be going home with that set of overalls? I don't think you are, because I don't have a set of NASCAR Simpson overalls in my collection at home. So by the end of the weekend, if you can't find them, don't come to my house, okay? Because they're not going to be at my house. Dave, jokes aside, you've had a couple of runs. You're in a situation that you're not normally in NASCAR. NASCAR, it rains, that's it. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll start again, man. You know, that's how it goes. So take us through what it was like to be in that car in the wet conditions.
Well, I could tell you this hill commands a lot of respect, and that's what I'm giving it. So far, that's what I've been giving it, just trying to get a little bit comfortable more and more with the new car. I've never driven this car before, especially driving it on a mountain and not a racetrack, so there's a lot of variables going on right now and a lot going through my head, but each run I'm getting a little bit more and more comfortable. I'm just trying to keep my breathing going and stay calm, keep my heart rate down, and realize there's no really room for error out there. So I think I'm taking the right approach for me, and this last run I just went up the hill and just about to break into the 40s, high 40s, so we're gaining on it. I feel there's a lot left on the table. I just have to, start getting comfortable with the amount of grip. We're on rain tires. I haven't been on the dries yet at all, and so the course itself's been intermediate, wet and dry with the rain tires, and just trying to get comfortable with the lean angle. The lean angle of this V8 Masters and how much it'll actually hold the line, especially on the medium cars up in the S's in that area there. I tend to be braking a little bit too much, and I'm just thankful for this opportunity, and as long as I keep progressing each run, compared to stock car driving in NASCARs, you basically have a session to run, not just one lap, and it's tough to just put it all together for one lap. So each time we get a chance to do it, and then there's a delay in the event when you're ready to go. Your turn's coming up. That's what happened the last time.
Yeah, I saw that.
It sort of messes with your mind a little bit, but keep your heart rate down, keep digging, and I'm learning from the best in the business. My teammate Kai Goddard, he's right on the on point right now, and he's the one I'm chasing down. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, there was a bit of rivalry you were talking about yesterday when we spoke to the two of you, Kai, and I think that rivalry is going to continue into the weekend. The cool thing about it, though, is that you're in almost, I would say, spot-on identical cars. So it's now a case of, as Dave was saying, getting that setup right, leaning on the car a bit, making sure that it pushes you to your limits as well as its limits. What are you doing to do that?
Well, we've already been playing with sway bar settings. Now we're looking at the rear wing, and now we're looking at ride height and lifting the back of the cars up a little bit. So it's turned technical, but it's been very slippery. No run has been anything other than sideways. So, but now that it's drying up, as Dave said, we've just been running the rain tire, and it's dry down here. There's like a whole nother climate at the top.
It's amazing that. Hey?
Yeah, it's wet at the top, dry down here, or wet down here. And the other thing is we notice is starting to be some maybe the rain is pushing some dirt or sand or grit. So
yeah, the grit is starting to come across the track. There's no doubt about that. That fine like silt comes across for sure.
Yeah, it's slippery. So I've actually heard Dave say this before. It's a little saying that he has, but it's about as slippery as owl snot is what we say in the U.S.
That's spot on, man.
Yeah, it's pretty slippery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the track conditions, it's the same for everybody. But when I say that very tongue-in-cheek, because you could be the fourth or fifth car off the line. By the time you get down to 25th, to 30th car, conditions have changed up, and every single free practice session, that's exactly what's happened. So you're looking and going, oh no, we're okay, it's clear, and 30 cars later you've got rain or you've got an incident and you've had to sit there and reboot.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. I mean, look at the clouds. You know, we had one reasonably dry, slippery dry run, and then at the top of the hill you're flipping on the lights and the wipers to get back down. That's what it's like. So I think the biggest thing is the start. We're kind of playing around with that. I tried one in second gear, we tried one in first, and it obviously it's a bit NHRA if you follow drag racing.
Yeah, no,
to
100%.
to get them to go, you know. So
Look, the other thing is, the two of you coming from the stock car stuff you normally do, you're not used to a standing start, so this must be a whole nother ball game for you guys to get off the line, particularly on a slanted slope as well. It's not a flat surface you're starting on. You're usually behind a pace car at that point in the race.
yep. And to kind of add another layer to that, these cars aren't meant for standing starts.
Exactly.
And
that's the point I was going to get to, is the APVs that Owen has built are all normally behind a pace car when they start things out. So they're not geared, or they are geared for today, but they're not usually geared for a first gear start.
Right. Yep. So some of it was we're trying to save the clutches for tomorrow. You know,
That's the way to do it.
They're
Look, we spoke to. I'm gonna wrap now with the two of you. We've got another interview standing by, but just to wrap up, and if you wouldn't mind passing it across to Dave for the last comment. Dave, just chatting about that. One of our top contenders in South Africa, which you guys have probably heard about as well, is a young man called Stuart White, who's just signed for Sauber, and he's part of the progression in the F1 team that they're looking at for development drivers. He was on our feed, and of course you can see the feed now lighting up that the two of you have joined, talking about being here last year in a Formula Renault, which is a very similar car to Formula One, and having to just slowly but surely build through the 5 practice sessions. In the qualifying, there's a bit of a change up in your thinking and in your strategy, and then of course gearing yourself for the final.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, to be in an open wheel car here, so much respect, first of all, for all these guys, and having that aero to your advantage is huge. But in these conditions, trying to drive one of those cars up the hill, you know, you can't even get. Well, if you can get to the speed that you can start to increase the aero, good for them. But I don't know. Those guys have certainly more
Cojones.
Cojones, I'd say. Especially, you know, for me coming up here the first time, I wouldn't want to be in an open wheel car up there. But you know, it's just basically taking your time, being patient. Don't get too greedy, because if you do, you know, you might not end up, you know, finishing the weekend. So go up there and just you know, drive your heart out and try to get a little bit each time in each lap. And we're doing okay right now. Just keep the progression going, and
Fantastic.
We'll keep digging.
Well,
See how we
great.
go.
Dave, Kai, thanks so much
Hi
for
to my
joining us
family
again.
back home in
Yes,
America.
everybody back home in America. Here's your 2 American representatives. We got our representative up at Jaguar.